In the administrative account with Juniata Valley Bank, we have $36,597.12. This is the account that we do most of our small business with. In the operational income, the maintenance account where we do the larger things, the balance is presented at $31,780.93. This is the one where we take the requisition monies and anything like I wrote the check for George's retainer, that particular one, and that's when we'll also write the check for when we get the bill from the auditor. Okay. In the portfolio, right presently, we have $726,033.68, and as I mentioned before, that is a nebulous sum. It goes up, it goes down, it depends on the fluctuation of the market at any given time, but that is the present market value as of 12/31. Okay. In the revenue account, we have $351,543.94 after the monthly payment to Penvest for $21,171.03, and the first quarter payment as of 1/1/18 to the borough for $125,000, which is a quarterly payment. The remaining debt is at $3,299,291.17, which gives our account valuation at this point $1,145,955.67. But as admonished as I have numerous times, remember that for the point of Kevin, who's a new member here now, the portfolio is a required account by DEP for major catastrophe and stuff like that, so we must maintain that. So really, our working capital is really right around $350,000, something like that. It would take an entire board and a major catastrophic event to break into that,
Right.
into what's called the debt service account. All right.
Okay.
Any questions for the treasurer concerning report number 215? See Todd's still working the calculator, so
Yeah,
I'll give
you're
it a couple
fine.
of seconds. I'm fine?
Yep. Don't forget that we must all, as members of the public board, fill out this State Ethics Commission Statement of Financial Interests. Some of us have numerous jobs, and and it does, one suffices for all. So
Please have those filled out and given back to the borough office.
Yeah, send it right
At
in.
least by next month's meeting.
or send it into the office at the Gunsberger building.
All right.
That's what I
They
do.
don't get them.
No.
They don't get them.
They don't get them anymore?
They go right directly to me.
Okay, I'll drop them off to you then.
Do we have a motion to approve treasurer report number 215?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Anything further from the treasurer?
Go get it and give me the bill. Yeah, just one last thing,
Okay.
don't forget that all of these facts and figures, here are the statements from the banks if you're interested in them.
Moving on, engineers report.
Does anyone need a copy? Yes, please. Everybody actually needs a copy because I screwed something up, which I fixed.
Okay.
Chad, you wanna take it?
So, yeah, I didn't complete the requisition number, so.
I did not. I'm sorry.
so-
Do you have an extra one?
Yeah. I get you.
I got your old one.
There was the rate study.
Yeah, I didn't have, basically, I didn't change that table for this one, so, for the requisition, so. Item number 1 is requisition 01-18. That is work for, through the month of December. There's 3 invoices associated with that. The first one, which doesn't show up in this table at all. The first one is $350. That's for meeting attendance at the November and December meetings. There's $693.75, and that's related to the Epiphany work. And then $220, which relates to work on the rate study evaluation, for a total of $1,263.75.
Move to accept.
We have a motion to accept requisition number 01-18, the amount of $1,263.75. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passed.
Apologize for butchering that up. Item number 2, I just kind of leave on there in perpetuity, related to the 872 bridge relocation reimbursement. I have not heard anything back from our friend at PennDOT yet, so I'm gonna keep plugging away at him. I don't.
Lost track.
I tried also.
6, 7.
Yeah, I don't spend a lot of
I
effort
don't
on
even know
it.
if he's working there anymore.
I reach out to him a couple times a month, and he usually doesn't respond, so. With the Epiphany water treatment, the NPDS permit application, which was approved, has been submitted. The chapter 106, which is the floodplain management permit, kind of have everything in place now, that we're kind of pulling all that data together to submit that in to DEP, and then we have comments to the Conservation District to respond to for erosion and sedimentation control plan approval, so nothing really new at this time on that.
Does that have a timeframe to it?
As far as,
No, I guess when it would be submitted, or?
well, right now we have Dingman Run, which has to be submitted this week, and we have the grant application, and I have those as priority over 106 stuff, so
Okay.
I'm trying to get to it.
It's on the list, it's just,
It's on the list, but it's at the bottom of my CAMA list, so.
gotcha.
The rate structure study, just, I'm leaving on there because we're still kind of active with that, but you guys have the report, and, you know, whatever support you need moving forward as we try to get to a resolution there. Dingman Run, I have to get all the cost sharing documentation, the 4181UC, the 4181, 4181, 10 different types of form, but that and the design, we gotta get to PennDOT here before the end of the week. And that they've approved you got the letter where they approved the entering into the 75-25 agreement.
You might as well go ahead and include that, saves me during correspondence.
Okay, well,
That's what you're talking about.
yeah, the authority received approval of PennDOT, our request to enter into that cost sharing agreement, and then, okay, so we're working on getting all that done, so this is all the deliverables and everything will need to go to them, and we get through that process. And then once everything's submitted, they'll draft an agreement, which will be executed by you guys, and then, in this project, construction will be incorporated into the bridge replacement project, just to refresh.
Separate but unrelated.
75-25.
Is this the one where they're not gonna put a bridge in, or put a sidewalk in?
I don't know what the
What's
plans
the
are gonna be
ballpark
yet for the bridge.
That's what I'm working on.
Possibly not a sidewalk.
I don't even have an estimate yet for that, so that's my day tomorrow. Try to get all that wrapped up.
They want the borough to maintain it for the next 25 years.
Of course, they state
Some new,
Some of the
bridge.
numbers.
their bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're passing it. Oh, good.
Continuing on with the engineer's report.
The last item I have, new project for you guys. I've sent some stuff out to you on this, but this relates to the Commonwealth Financing Authority Small Water and Sewer Grant Program. We talked about that briefly. It's an 85%, 15% loan grant split, so we were looking for a project where we could submit on behalf of the authority. And what we came up with was to replace the influence screening at the treatment plant here. Currently, we have mechanically clean bar screen, which Bill's been fighting with for a couple years anyway. And what Bill was kinda looking for was, something finer, and we're looking at a belt screen now, which I think goes down to 7 mm.
There's some choices.
Yeah, there's different choices, but it's a good system. We put one in I think Johnsonburg, we use that same piece of equipment that we're looking at here. We got some quotes on that. So all told, total project cost, we're looking at $365,000 to do that. If the authority is successful in getting selected, that would be a $54,750 cost to the authority. And we do these grant applications kind of gratis, just to get them in the queue. So there'll be a couple actions we'll need to be able to submit the grant application.
Just give me a copy.
The first is a letter from the authority indicating to CFA that the authority will provide the matching funds necessary to complete the project. So we will need to authorize the chairman to sign that letter to state that you will provide the matching funds for that project. The second is to authorize signature of a letter, which is the statement of project ownership. That letter states that Coudersport Area Municipal Authority will own and operate the project once completed. And the third item is the resolution to apply that will need to be adopted tonight. And the resolution says that you're gonna apply to the Small Water and Sewer Program grant for a grant of $310,250 from the Commonwealth Financing Authority to be used for the influence screen replacement project. And then there's a bunch of legalese in there that they have. So those are three things that we'll have to do tonight in order for us to meet the February 28th deadline for
Let's
submission.
back on the
To that
resolution,
effect.
to all three at once. Short way, easy way. We have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Roll call.
Aye.
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 And the last item, we'll need to draw a check from the treasurer payable to the Commonwealth Financing Authority for $100, and that's the application fee for the grant that CFA charges.
So we're gonna gamble $100 to get
$310,000.
310,000.
Yeah.
This gets signed by Paul as the secretary.
But
There's 2 copies of each there for
just
your
talk to
signature.
Bill, we gotta have it done, there's nothing we can do.
I think it's a good improvement to the plant. I think you've been having trouble,
Who do we make it out to?
Commonwealth
Commonwealth
Financing Authority.
Do we have to make a motion for that?
I think I already did.
No, we have made a motion to apply on the resolution, and
But
that's.
not for the,
And it's for the what?
Grant.
yeah.
Small water and
PA.
sewer grant.
Just to
Just say CFA
cover our
grant.
6, we can make a motion to pay the $100 application fee if it uses,
Yeah, that envelope to return this in.
are you making said motion?
This is that into the
We have a motion, we have a second. Any further
I did never
discussion?
see this.
Oh, okay.
Roll call.
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion
Okay.
passed.
I thought it came from you to Paul, so it must have went to the PO box.
Yeah, no, I never saw it.
Okay. Paul, do you have the envelope for this?
You did that.
This NPDS
Yeah,
renewal?
that's the one, isn't it?
Yep.
Now, do we keep a copy of this, or do you keep?
This will be, I'll assemble hard copies, and you'll get a hard copy of the grant application.
Okay.
Once completed and assembled.
Paul still needs to sign that one?
Yep, Paul, as the secretary, needs to sign the resolution. I guess you need to number it too, whatever, I don't know what your numbering sequence is, would be like 218-1, or is that how you guys do resolutions?
Yeah.
very competitive grant program last year. I can't remember how many millions of dollars were requested. What makes it small water and sewer, it's for any project that's under $500,000. And one of the interesting things that we learned this year that they've said is, if your project goes over $500,000, they will take back all the money. And then you'll be on the hook for the full amount. So they warn you if
Well,
you're,
let's not go over budget.
No,
then.
let's
they warn you, do not apply for $500,000. So
Let's do not go
make sure you're not
over
taking it that close. But I'm pretty confident with our number that if we get that, we'll be well within our budget.
Okay, anything further from the engineer?
That's all I have.
Any questions for the engineer?
Okay, so for plumbing, gmail.com. Is it just
S-A-U-L-T, K-salt,
Okay, so that's A-U-L-T.
T, yep. Plumbing. K-salt plumbing.
Moving on, correspondence. What we have is from PMAA, board member training, Pittsburgh on March 7th, Camp Hill on March 13th, and Bringingville on the 21st. Yeah, I'm not sure either.
Oh, Browningsville,
Brenningsville?
yeah.
Okay. I apologize to all the people that time. Performance assessment. Once again, a reminder that the PMA annual conference is September 9th through the 12th in Erie at the Bayfront Convention Center. All right, any old business that we have not already discussed, kicked around, thought about?
Just a reminder to everybody, our buddy Marlon Moore has a
Spaghetti dinner
spaghetti
benefit?
dinner benefit, yeah, this coming Saturday, 3 to 7 at the St. Eulalia's.
The only thing I have, seeing as how we have our new Sweden representative, we are still having issues trying to get new addresses of people when they move in and out of Sweden Township and have sewer.
Okay.
We have gone through Debbie and don't get any response. Mary says that she'll get back to us, it's been over a year. And Holly has a difficult time trying to figure out who actually owns some properties in Sweden.
Okay.
I just trying to come up with a better way to do this, to get these realty transfers and to find out who actually owns the properties.
Doesn't the tax office go through you guys
We don't get
as
a
part of
realty.
that process?
No.
Right up to the township.
Only for the borough?
You know, they'll call, they might call if there's a
A lien.
lien or something
Mhm.
something going on there, but a lot of times, no. Holly doesn't have a clue of who's moved in where and what. The last time I had to go, was a suggestion I go knock on doors, and we didn't do that. I wasn't gonna go there myself. Who are you?
Are you Dave?
No, my name's Bob. There's depends on who.
You know, if we could just get the realty transfers or something
Okay, I'll
That-
see.
It's me,
that,
Dave.
that are on the sewer system. You know, we don't need them if they're way up in Timbuktu or something, just on the sewer system.
I was gonna say, just people connected to the
Right,
system, right? Yeah.
That's all.
I'll do what I can. How's
I know.
that?
I
I
understand.
can only
I
have.
understand they're busy, I just don't know how to get this information.
Any other old business? Any new business?
You know, what, have we made progress on, are we gonna have any, meetings concerning the rate structure?
We need to. What,
Mary?
wow, what dates are you available, Paul?
Monday nights? I teach Wednesday and Thursday nights, so.
How about during the day? Todd, what's your best meeting time?
I can do
Days,
Tuesday nights, too.
evenings? We do need to sit down and discuss that
Yeah.
EDU chart. We've gotta get that settled. And actually, this is probably
I'm
under
op- I'm
old
op-
business more than
I'm
new
open
business.
pretty
but-
much anytime.
Would it work better in the daytime than in the evening? It doesn't matter to me. I'm,
Day works for me too.
Yeah,
These
day-
guys can get off of it.
Day I know I can schedule around more than in the evening if I got a kid that's got a basketball game or the rest of that.
okay. How about next Monday?
What is that?
That would be the 20, no, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
29th, yeah.
It's a fifth
Yes,
Monday.
29th.
Yeah, what
I'm
time,
getting
where?
my glasses checked again.
Wanna meet for lunch?
We got Rotary.
We have Rotary.
Okay, so right after Rotary then.
Okay,
Unless one of you guys wanna take me as a guest and then I get a free lunch or something.
We're celebrating Smitty's birthday, so you'd be more than welcome. I'd pay for it.
Yeah, you want to come?
Gotta join Rotary.
No, I don't have to join Rotary. They've been after me to join Rotary for years. And
You
I-
could be his +1.
Basically, that's what it is, as long as they buy my lunch.
Actually, it's Smitty's birthday, and we're
Is
honored
it?
him,
Yeah.
Where you gonna go?
Smitty.
It's at the Episcopal Church.
Oh, I thought you were going someplace special.
We can go afterwards. You want to just come for lunch?
I'll come for lunch and then we'll have the
Yeah.
meeting
Yeah.
after lunch. Okay.
You'll be my guest.
So,
You wanna go down to Eddie's and, so you're in on
well, Ed can become part of that committee if he wants to be. I mean, it's just the three of us right now. We can, all members are welcome to participate.
Yeah. I mean, if you can't get away, we can come down to your business and something, you set us up a table or something, you just sit and talk.
We got a room we can sneak off in the back and sit down and hash out these EDU rates or,
You'd have to set something up.
well,
it? Well,
I don't have any room per se now.
you wanna come to my place, you can. I have a room.
okay. Why don't we have it at Paul's place and Ed and Kevin, you're both more than welcome to attend. This
What
is a
Workshop.
This is a committee workshop for the,
1:30,
for the
1:15.
rates
Only
restructuring.
make it 2 o'clock, okay? In case anything happens, you know, Rotary
This-
goes over.
This does have to be advertised. It is a workshop.
yeah.
All members are there.
Yes.
Right, it's fine.
What time? The 29th
The 29th at 2
2
o'clock?
o'clock,
at the Laurelwood?
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
We can use the front lounge, and if there's more people that wanna, you know, go back into the bottom part there.
The only place I'll be able to get it published is the Endeavor. Just so you know, that's where
Or
it'll be.
Solomon's.
Solomon's doesn't count as a legal,
It doesn't?
no,
As long as we can get it published.
okay.
Bradford, you can't get
Bradford, I can
Bradford
do
out?
Or if you wanna put it off a week till February 5th,
That would give you 2 weeks, right?
We'll get it published someplace.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it the 29th. No point in kicking this can any further down the road. Let's go ahead, because that's one of the final pieces of the puzzle, I think. Not the final piece, but one of the final pieces of the puzzle.
John, those recommendations you had for EDUs, were they examples or were they based on what Unitech has
It's-
done in other areas or
They're,
how did you get to those?
those are ones that we have used with other clients in the past,
Uh-huh.
as far as assessments.
Are they fairly current? Like,
They are.
Would PMAA have anything?
I can tell you from PMMA standpoint, 90% of the state is at EDUs right now.
And as far as
Well, just
The use
whether-
of
whether they
EDUs,
would
but
have-
Not the actual,
whether they would have a
Corresponding.
guidelines, I
That's
don't
what
know that.
Todd
said.
I don't know if
Yeah.
PMA would get involved in helping establish billing rates. I don't know if they have that kind of data.
I can try.
They're kind of commonly accepted, kind of industry standard, you know, like a restaurant. For a restaurant, it's pretty common to say 10 seats per EDU. And that's, you know, that's a common,
and of course, that's all at our discretion. If we decide to
Exactly.
make 50
Yeah,
seats
yeah.
per EDU,
Well, I was
we
just trying to
can
think-
do that.
How much?
You know,
What do you mean,
Say
the
less-
level of EDU?
Yeah,
Yes.
and
That's
not
up to
the
us.
fact that they're using EDU, but is there already a study out there or a a data reservoir of saying,
Yeah, I'm not aware of one. I think EPA kinda,
I'll run that to Jennifer.
yeah, EPA had
That would be helpful.
guidelines, but they're very old.
what I'm looking for, Paul, is something that's more rural versus urban.
You know,
Right.
real study on,
And I can look at some other examples too.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they could get us other authorities,
Yeah.
what they are using, and then we can look at them and make some kind of comparison or.
And even making a
Well,
phone call
that's easy,
to,
because Pat's company does any number of towns, you know.
yeah, and, you know, and like I said, you know,
Well,
even
we
if you
didn't
call
get
your
anywhere
neighbors,
along in that direction. We even called Pat
All right, I'll take care of it.
You know what I'm saying?
PMA, yeah, all
at
right.
You
our
know,
last meeting,
but if you wanna
so.
call, Austin, see how Austin does it. If you wanna call, you know, other places up here in the north and see, you know, maybe Port Allegheny, how do they do it?
Yeah.
How does Emporium do it? How does St. Mary's, you know? Well, St. Mary's is probably
Emporium's
getting bigger.
Restructuring, I mean,
Yeah,
Port Allegheny's restructuring right now. so-
right, but you can get a feel for how other people are doing it, how, you know, and how, you know, go along six and just kind of find people. And you can get a feel for your neighbors and see what they're doing. And what you want to make sure you have is categories that cover all your customers, you know.
Right.
And
No exclusions.
right, and, you know, and as Bill said, all those things are at your discretion. You know, if you view, you know, I don't know, KT's, I don't know how many people KT seats, but, you know, they can seat 200 people in that whole place. You know, maybe you don't think that is a fair and equitable charge to them, you know, if you do it by 10 seats per
Are they on
EDU.
EDUs or are they on?
Well, I don't know, I mean, if you're going to a straight EDU system,
They're on water usage.
right, but if you're going to a straight
Commercial
EDU
meters.
system,
Yeah.
that is, you know, that is, you know, that's something you have to address. You know, if you wanna try to do a blended system where you have, if you allow commercial accounts only to be, you know, done by metering, it's a valid way to do it, if that's your desire, you know, because McDonald's has definitely a different usage pattern than Biz does at her place. You know, those are two very different customers.
So what category does landlords fall into?
Well, that's where,
That's
That's
still,
where the
that's
problem-
that's
still,
where the solicitor and I disagree,
that's
because,
still up for debate. And I
because-
asked for something in
Well, that's where the
writing
problem is.
about that and have yet to
Because-
receive anything.
I believe, and this is how I would advise you as an engineer, but I'm not your solicitor, but if it is an entity used for residence, it is a residence. Because Paul owns 5-unit apartment building, that does not make that a commercial client to me. Those are 5 residents. And that's how I view it. George views it differently. And I'm not saying who's right or wrong, I'm just saying, those are the opinions. I think if it's a structure used to house, you know, for housing, it's a residence.
If it's an apartment building,
Right.
apartments are residents.
Right.
It's not a commercial business property.
Right.
That's how I look at it.
That's how I view it as well. You know, a hotel is different.
That's commercial.
That's a
That's
commercial
commercial
business.
entity. And,
Those aren't residents, those
Right.
are rooms for rent.
right, and I just view that differently, but that's a decision you guys have to make.
Yep.
Um,
All part of the final
And,
pieces that we still have to.
You know, and
work
I would
out.
say, as you look at it right now, how your existing rate resolution is structured, it's kind of a combination of a lot of different things going on. But the main gist is, residences are supposed to be EDU based. Commercial could be based on EDU or water meter usage. It is kind of the general thing, but there's some other things that really kind of confuse it. And for me, that's a fine system if that's how you want to go, because commercial entities are different than residential entities. And if you want to allow them to be billed based on water usage, I think that's a valid way to do it. provided they have water, water meter that you can check. If they're not, then you have to charge them by EDU.
But some of it's obvious and some of it isn't. I mean, it's obvious, linen, for instance, okay, yeah, that's water usage. But,
Right.
Well, I think what you run into
They got
is
their own well.
at Sweden, down in Sweden Valley, there are no meters
Right.
to meter the water.
Right, yeah.
So how do we do commercial metered in Sweden or even in Eulalia
And that came
when
with
we don't have any meters?
18
Right.
businesses.
Because they have their own water.
Yeah, they will, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so you would have to charge them by EDU, but you can't charge, what is that, the west, that is,
No, the golf place there, we charge them a unit and a half, an EDU and a half,
okay.
okay?
And that's what you kinda have to assess, I would say any business is probably almost automatically 1.5 EDUs. If it's a business, and then you get into the specificities of the business, if it's a laundromat, it's so many EDUs per washing machine. If somebody has a salon in their home,
What about churches?
churches, I don't know how they have churches.
I think yeah, there's one.
Yeah, it depends
Yeah,
on
I think
churches,
so.
because,
Each church, 1
But
EDU.
you reminded us though that it was just
that's for a church.
Church, it's not.
No.
Yeah, for a parish center.
Right, if there is a,
gym.
Yeah.
Parsonage, et cetera.
if that church rents a hall for weddings and different things, then that is an additional.
Okay, then my question would be, how would you look at the new church that's being built right there down the street from me in almost Sweden Valley? I think it's still in Eulalia, isn't
I don't know.
Yeah, that's like, yeah.
What are they gonna do there?
it? Well,
It's a big
it's a
church.
meeting hall
Yeah, are they gonna have other things?
and a church,
In a church, yeah.
Are they gonna
and a
have,
church.
are they gonna have daycare, are they gonna use that rental property, are they gonna use it as a rental?
Don't know,
How many
Right.
bathrooms?
Those are all things that you
kitchen?
have to know. And that's why anytime anybody's doing development, they need to be coming to the sewer authority to say, hey, we're gonna develop this piece of property. We need to see their plans for sewer connection, so that we can review that and say, okay,
This is what you're gonna do.
yeah, because if that guy's getting on the sewer with that church, we don't have the request for EDUs, how does he know we even have EDUs to give him?
He's not on the line, so he doesn't have to.
Well, but I'm
They
just,
are, they do.
Huh?
That church is,
It's on the line?
yeah.
Yeah, it has been.
They're,
Yeah.
No, which, the new one?
The new one,
The one up-
yeah.
Yeah.
It's up there.
I didn't think that was on the line. I thought the line went down behind it.
so, I mean, they should have been submitting to us,
A long time
Yeah,
ago.
there's already a line there. There was already a building.
Yeah, but even if there
They
was,
did submit, they
Yeah.
asked for a request to
You
submit
lay
over capacity. That's-
Didn't require hookups. Unless it was by, I thought Eulalia was by choice.
It wasn't mandatory.
It wasn't mandatory
Yeah, I
hookup.
think that's true, they did not make Eulalia have a mandatory connection ordinance.
Right, yeah.
So,
Yeah, that's been hooked up.
so like on a sheet, so if you're gonna, like for Katie, for example, 200.
years.
Yeah, so it's clean up,
How
going
would you
down through.
view sheets as a capacity with no seating?
Right.
But yet everybody uses it for a bath, goes in there for a bath.
Yeah.
Well, it has
It's more
a
than
service
Katie's.
station.
It does have a
Yeah.
service
That
station.
So you have
bathroom's
a
in
service
constant
station.
use.
That's,
Yeah.
So it'd be a minimum of 2 EDUs, but then, and,
What are they
or
paying
an
right now,
EDU
Beth?
for every 10 employees.
Well, that would
It's
be-
based on water, plus they
that would
pay
be
an extra
that
amount
plus
because they hose down their
10 per EDU.
parking lot
I
You know, so-
that,
So if you have,
for that.
so you're getting 2, and then based on how you staff that.
Okay, so let's go through that.
Okay.
If you ran through sheets, and you say each service station without service or repair or public car wash, or with sealed oil collection systems, 10 employees
I think
equals
we
1
can work it
EDU,
out. I don't think we need to pay engineering.
1.5 EDUs minimum.
Right, so you have a 1.5 EDU and up to 10 employees, so that would be 2.5 EDUs.
So if they have 15 employees,
That would kick another EDU in.
Okay, so it'd be 2.5.
Does
No,
that,
you're 2.5 right now.
does that include?
You're 1.5,
Plus,
Oh,
plus
plus,
one.
this is a plus
Full-time
plus.
employees, or somebody that's just there a couple days?
That was
a
one
week?
of the things that
That was-
we
What?
had a discussion about at the workshop.
I think what you're looking at is.
Part-time employees, full-time employees.
Not necessarily number of employees, but You know, because if you're going to a place, you know, like Sheets,
So-
does Sheets ever have more than 6 people working at a time? You know, so it's kind of what their
Oh, yeah.
staffing is,
Oh,
not
it's
necessarily,
Depends.
Okay,
yeah, not necessarily their employees, but their staffing. So if you go into Ed's shop, you know, Ed might have 15 people working for him, but there's never more than 2 people there.
I see.
So you'd only get charged for 2.
Right.
Yeah, she's always got about 5 or 6.
Yeah, yeah.
So now, along with that, you have part A and part B, so with public restrooms, is that still an additional
Mhm.
to, so you had 10 employees with
Yeah.
1 EDU, plus the 1.5?
Okay, wait, that's with, okay, so if you're doing it with public restrooms, okay, I might have been telling you the wrong thing there, as I'm looking at this.
Yeah.
This?
So, yeah, so you got a service station with public restrooms, so it's a minimum of 2 EDUs. So if you're having,
Okay.
if you have more than 10 employees,
They
you would
never
add
have more
another
than 10,
EDU.
they never have more than 10.
Right, you would add another EDU if they have more than 10 people working
Okay,
at a time.
so
So,
two EDUs.
that would be
covers
2
10
EDUs,
employees.
right, yeah.
Can you give me one?
Yeah, I can email you that.
I
I'll
don't
email
have
you
a
a copy.
computer, so you're gonna have to bear with me
What
here.
you sent me? You gave us an email?
I do, I can do this from my phone, but I can't.
Okay, I can,
Do you have his mailing
Did you
address?
just
What-
send up one?
I'll
Do you
just
have
send
any
one.
more of these?
Yeah.
You just send one up to Beth and
I'll stick them in the mail.
I'll just throw it in the mail.
I'll,
I can email it to Bev and Bev.
Okay, before this thing reminds me
Just
of
make it a
way
copy.
back when we were doing midnight meetings. Anything further for the good of the order?
For this rate structure, we cannot do a model on our
Yeah.
system. Did Holly tell you?
Holly
Okay.
said that.
Okay.
Can you be at the meeting?
This is the 29th,
Yeah,
10th,
Yeah, we've got to have you.
okay.
okay?
I can